The following is presented by the Pinellas County Extension.
It is great once again to be here with Pam Brown, our horticulture extension agent here in Pinellas County, but she has me confused with this winter is spring thing.
Well, just think about it. We have nice balmy days in the winter here, cool nights, and that's really the way spring is in the north.
So what does that have to do with our planting?
Well, then we can plant plants here much earlier than people in northern climates can. Things that they would plant in the spring there, we plant
We
now
can plant
here.
them. Oh, okay.
Yes, and they do well all winter here, and then when our sticky summers come, then we have to change them out.
Okay, well I have to ask you this because I get really confused about the annual perennial thing. Are we perennially thinking about annuals or annually thinking about perennials? What are we doing?
Annuals are plants that are planted from seed and go to seed in one season. They grow, bloom, and produce seed in one growing season.
Annual.
That's an annual.
Okay.
Perennials are plants that last perennially for a long time. An oak tree is a very long-lived perennial.
Are some plants both? I mean,
No,
I guess it couldn't be because
not horticulturally.
That's right. Okay,
not horticulturally, but we treat some perennials as annuals in Florida because they don't like our hot summers.
So I take it the first thing we need to do is know what plants we should be planting right now. Can you give me some examples of that?
Sure. We can plant now begonias, impatiens, carnations, Gerber daisies are a perennial that we sort of treat as an annual here.
Okay.
Some of the other plants that we might plant are verbena or alyssum.
Okay.
Any of those things would be really good.
Well, oh, you got some pretty ones over here too. I go going over to those. Now let me ask you this. I think I've learned some things from you here in the past few months doing this. We probably should pick our location after we pick our plants. Is that right?
No, you need to pick the location first.
Pick the location first. Okay, what are we looking for a location? Lots of sun?
It depends on what you want to plant. But for the most part, in the winter, it's best to have good, full sun. Some plants will bloom okay in partial shade. Impatiens are like that. They actually like a little bit of shade. And begonias will bloom too in some shade. Most part need sun.
They need that sun.
And if you can't give them all day sun, morning sun is better than afternoon sun.
Is it really? Why is that?
The afternoon sun tends to be really intense and hot. Not so much a problem in the winter, but
I got it. Okay, now let me see. The next thing would be, soil. Well, you're always talking about amending that soil, making sure the soil is right. Well, if I've already had it right for my summer or my fall garden, is it still going to be okay for my winter garden?
Yes.
It will be.
Yes. You might add some complete fertilizer to it to boost up the nutrition in it up a little bit. But if you've already prepared the soil for this year, that you don't need to do it again.
You don't need to do that again.
No.
So the next thing would be planting it, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, can we show me? I mean, I always just
plant?
I probably do this wrong. I just kind of like dig a hole and stick it in, and you know.
And actually, that's
but there's a way to be careful, isn't there?
Yeah.
And don't some people just kind of cheat and put the pots in? Not that I've ever done that, but
and that's
I mean,
okay.
You could.
That's okay. You could dig a hole and put this pot in.
Okay.
And this one is kind of small though. If you were going to do that, you would want to use one that's a little larger.
All right.
You know, so that there's some room for the roots.
Okay.
But we're going to plant some impatiens, and these impatiens actually, when we are choosing plants, these are some that I might not choose. You want to choose plants that are kind of short and stocky and not in full bloom yet. This one though has a bud coming out, so we know what color it's going to be. This petunia does.
Okay.
But these are in a flat, so we can look at what you want to take them out very carefully, but you'll notice that the roots are all around the edge of this.
Right.
And you want to gently kind of pull them out
You
a little
can do
bit.
that? I was just afraid to even touch them.
Yeah, you can kind of break them apart and pull them out a little bit because that will establish them better into the soil.
Never knew that. Let me, while you're getting this planted, let me ask you, then you kind of put mulch all up around everything when you get finished?
You do mulch, but you want to be careful not to put the mulch up around the stem of your plant. You want to be careful not to plant it any deeper than it's already planted.
All right.
You'll put the soil back around it. You want to put a little water in as you're doing that.
As you're doing it?
As you're doing it.
All right.
And
so, wow. It's that simple?
That simple, but
Uh-oh, we're going to get confusing. Oh, you're going to trim that poor thing?
Yes, because it's really getting leggy, and we want it to be a nice little...
And you can do that to what time you plant it?
Sure.
Great. Let me ask, what else should we be doing? We can plant our plants. What should we be doing in our landscapes right now?
A couple of things. If you have deciduous trees, or plants that have lost their leaves, this is a good time to prune for any structural things that need to be done. You can also, if you've planted a vegetable garden, now's a good time to fertilize it again because they use a lot of nutrients when you're growing vegetables. And it's also a good time if you have gardening friends. Look for gifts for the holidays for your gardening friends.
For more information on this and many more topics, visit www.pinellascountyextension.org.